going to talk about my 10 favorite songs from Jimi Hendrix. So the way this video works is, this is, I believe, episode 8 of the 10 best songs from an artist series. I listen to all the songs from that artist, and then I come back and I tell you what I think are the 10 best songs. I tell you something about the song, usually that makes it cool, whether it can be just, like how it was made, why it was made, what's in the song that I like, whatever. In this video here, I don't actually put the music because of copyright issues. I do make 10 shorts though. Starting the day this comes up, there'll be a short put up each day where I go from 10 to 1. And in that short, I kind of do the same thing, but just for that song, cut up. And then I have the song in it so you can hear it. There'll be a playlist in the description, and there's timestamps in the description. So if you want to learn more about other playlists or skip through this, hear the shorts, whatever, check out the playlist. With that being said, let's talk about Jimi Hendrix. This is really, for the most part, from the music standpoint, not just Jimi Hendrix, but what is known as the Jimi Hendrix experience. Jimi Hendrix is from the Pacific Northwest, originally the Seattle area, but then relocated in kind of like the mid-60s, early 60s to Nashville, where he became part of like the R&B kind of blues, rock and blues sort of backup guitar player, hired gun role. He played with bands like the Isley Brothers. He played with Little Richard. With that, he did his own thing for a little while. It was Jimmy James and the Blue Flames, where he was starting to kind of solo and branch out on his own, not just be a hired gun background guitar player, but, start actually singing and doing his own thing as a front man. He was doing this in New York when he got kind of cited by Keith Richards' girlfriend from the Rolling Stones. She liked him. She thought he was awesome. She kind of introduced him to Keith. They introduced him to the Rolling Stones' management at the time. The management wasn't really into him, but Chaz Chandler, who became really like the longtime manager and partner musically from a management and business standpoint, so to speak, and recording and production and all that too. He was from the Animals, Chaz Chandler. He was a bass player, but then he was kind of really known for not just Hendrix, but I think Hendrix was the most famous person that he kind of managed and worked with musically. So he really took him under his wing, brought him from America to London, and that's really where he flourished. When he was in London, he was playing, circuits there. He got known by people like Clapton, who really thought he was great. And that's where he started the Jimi Hendrix experience. The Jimi Hendrix experience was Hendrix, playing guitar, lead vocals. Then you had Noel Redding playing bass. You had Mitch Mitchell playing drums. They would do vocals on a lot of songs, background songs. Spoiler alert, some of the songs I like, a lot of the songs they do background vocals on. But it really was the Jimi Hendrix experience, and he was kind of featured as the main dude. Those guys are great players, but they didn't really get a lot of love as much as Hendrix did. They only made 3 studio albums from 1967 through 1968, which is pretty astonishing. They did a live album. I say they. It was at that point the Band of Gypsies. It wasn't the Jimi Hendrix experience anymore. Towards the time of the 3rd album, it wasn't even all 3 guys. It was session guys Jimmy was doing. He was starting to kind of get more on his own. There's a whole bunch of different versions of these albums at the time based on what country you were in. There's different versions of the singles based on where you lived. There's different recordings of the same song that are used for different versions of the singles. So it was kind of a wild time for the few short years where, he was making and recording music. Unfortunately, in 1970, he passed away. He's part of what's known as the 27 Club, 27 years old. Eerily, ironically, I don't know what the right word is. Weird, all these people died at 27. Just a strange, weird, eerie thing. A whole bunch of famous people have died at 27 that are musicians, and he was one of them. So unfortunately, when he died, kind of the music he did died with him. It wasn't like he was replaceable. You can't replace Jimi Hendrix experience with a different guy and still go out there like you can with a lot of other bands and acts. It really was a band, and I think all the guys contributed to the songs in terms of making them sound the way that you hear on the radio. He was the primary songwriter, however, Hendrix. But, the songs, the production, what you hear, he was one part of a larger piece with the band members, with his manager, Chaz. A lot of people made that sound the sound it was. Highway Child from 1967, originally released as the B-side to The Wind Cries Mary. This song just has like these really awesome guitar bends to start it. It always makes me think of the old WWF NWO. This was kind of for a short time their theme with like the dirty, nasty Hulk Hogan character and stuff like that. So I always associate it with that, although I don't think people necessarily want to associate with that. That was just the time I was as a kid. It's a blues boogie is how I would call it, because there's this really rockin' nasty, gnarly guitar bend intro, but then it turns to like almost like a blues boogie kind of shuffle. There's vibes of this to me that I hear in Schools Out from Alice Cooper. That came out like 5 years later. It's a very, very straight, simple, straightforward verse for a Hendrix style song. Usually the verses are a little crazier. The chorus isn't even really a chorus with vocals. It's really those guitar bends that are like the melody that you hear. It's a, unique song. Purple Haze from 1967 on Are You Experienced? This was the opening track to the Hendrix Experience's first album, possibly one of the most iconic Hendrix songs. It has, one of the reasons I guess it's iconic is it has the Hendrix chord, which is a dominant 7 sharp 9 chord, has a unique sound. It's used in a lot of his songs that are popular. This is the first time in the list it really comes up. Paul McCartney had reviewed this song in a magazine before it actually was out, like a pre-review. He loved the song. Known in the 420 community as a very, famous Hendrix song. It's very ambiguous lyrics. At one point, it's that girl put a spell on me. Then later, it gets more psychedelic, and is it tomorrow or is it just the end of time? So, he's singing about a lot of different stuff, even though the song is called Purple Haze and it's associated with, some very specific things. The lyrics point to that sometimes and then don't at all at others. Very interesting, cool song. Foxy Lady from 1967 on Are You Experienced? Like the previous song, this song also uses the Hendrix chord, which is the dominant 7 sharp 9 chord, how it's in the musical nerd jargon. This song is apparently about a woman who later became Roger Daltrey's wife, the dude from The Who, the lead singer from The Who. I always thought there's this really cool, funny, iconic scene in the Wayne's World movie. This comes on the jukebox and Garth kind of like daydream dances to this. Apparently that scene was improvised. It was just him trying to one-up Mike Myers, which is something that they did, which I think is kind of cool. Hearing this song from that scene, I heard the song on the radio as a child, sang it. My mom thought I was not saying Foxy Lady. She thought I was saying something else, and she yelled at me. I was too young to understand. I was like, it's Foxy Lady. It's from Wayne's World. I didn't know what it meant. I was too young. The guitar makes these awesome, sexy wah sounds that are really cool. It's got one of the more simple guitar solos in it. He's really doing the guitar solo to show like his control of the guitar and the tone, more so than playing like flashy or shreddy. All Along the Watchtower in 1968 on Electric Ladyland. This is a cover, but it was released only a few months after the Bob Dylan song. So what happened, I believe, is Hendrix had heard this song through like getting a whole bunch of Bob Dylan stuff that was unreleased. He was super into Bob Dylan, and he listened to this all. This wasn't the first time or the last time that Hendrix did a Bob Dylan cover, but it is the most iconic one. So it was released shortly after, and it wasn't played live by Dylan for like 10 years until after Hendrix did it. And when Dylan started doing it, he did it like the Hendrix style more. It's considered now like a cover of a cover. I believe Bob Dylan has been quoted as saying specifically he was, quote, overwhelmed. It overwhelmed him, I believe was the quote he said when he heard the cover and how awesome it was. Just a very, very tasty, classy, professional performance from Hendrix. He's not doing anything crazy. You can tell he super respects the song. Great wah, great effects, great tone. The effects and the tone are really what give it the Hendrix vibe, for it being a pretty simple, basic song and him playing well but not playing anything crazy too. Again, I think just really respect the song. Little Wing from Axis Bold as Love in 1967. This is a very ballady song. It's one of the most ballady songs I have on the list. From a guitar player standpoint, this is a song that a lot of people like to use to show their skill and their touch, their mastery on the guitar, but from a touch standpoint. So people like Stevie Ray Vaughan, Eric Clapton famously covered the song, done it on part of their albums. It's like a big part of their sets when they play. They're known for playing these songs a lot. It's got a really cool glockenspiel in the intro. This song kind of comes from the fact that Hendrix, I believe, was a session like R&B guy. He's quoted as saying at the time when he was doing all that Curtis Mayfield was one of the biggest influence he has. This song has a very kind of R&B, bluesy, but more R&B kind of vibe to it. You can hear the influence, I think, in that. There's some really cool things from a tone perspective. He's doing something unique with the pickups where there's 3 options. He makes their a unique fourth or fifth. You can do it between 1 and 3, 3 and 5, where you get it stuck in the middle. Today it's a thing you can do, but back then it wasn't supposed to be like that. It gives it a unique sound. They did a improvised spinning speaker. It's called a Leslie speaker. They didn't have one, but they did some other way to do that. Those things all give it, you know, the awesome, awesome sounds and tones that it's known for. Red House from 1967 on the UK version of Are You Experienced? So this song is a very traditional 12-bar blues done in the Hendrix way. It was so traditional in the 12-bar blues style that at the time, I don't think they thought the American audience would like it. So the blues music at the time, late 60s, wasn't really as huge as like the Beach Boys music. So this was a big thing for like the Rolling Stones and Zeppelin and these bands in London and in the UK that were becoming a thing. That's part of the reason why Hendrix went from America to London, because he was all into that too. So initially this wasn't put on the Are You Experienced US version. Eventually it became hip in America, but it took a little while. This song from a guitar player standpoint is so awesome. Early G3, which was Joe Satriani, Steve Vai, Eric Johnson, they'd all get on stage and jam together. It's a thing G3 does when they have three awesome guitar players. They get on stage and jam together. They've done other Hendrix songs, I believe, but Red House was a staple in the early days when they first started doing it. It's on the G3 live album. Years later, there's a pretty more recent, I believe, version of John Lee Hooker doing it, which is cool. He does it his style. Just an awesome, awesome blues song. Fire from 1967 and Are You Experienced? This was on the album, but it wasn't released as a single until the early 70s, years later. This song wasn't just about Hendrix. This really made the other guys in the band shine. So just awesome, awesome, great drums from Mitch Mitchell, super strong background vocals, the "Let Me Stand Next to Your Fire" from, you know, both those guys. The "Move Over, Rover" part is cool. The Noel Redding, the bass player, apparently it was New Year's Eve and Hendrix was at Noel's mother's house and he was cold by the fire and the dog was there and she said, "Move over, Rover, let Jimmy take over," or something like that. So I don't know if it's true, but it's a cool story one way or the other. The Chili Peppers cover this a lot. They did it at Woodstock and they've done it other things. They tribute their kind of early guitar player Halil, who passed away. Instead of "Move Over, Rover" and "Let Jimmy take over," they'll say "Let Mr. Huckleberry take over," which was his nickname. It's how they ended Woodstock 99 for their set, which some people didn't like. I think it's awesome. Just a great song. Crosstown Traffic from Electric Ladyland in 1968. This was kind of towards the end of the Jimi Hendrix Experience. It's one of the last studio albums that had Noel and Mitch in the band, still playing with him. A lot of the stuff from this album actually has like session guys, people that were in the Band of Gypsies later on for the live stuff. So what I like about this song is has got, again, like cool background vocals from both Noel and Mitch. There's also background vocals from Dave Mason, English musician legend. It's in the Hall of Fame, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, for being a founding member of the band Traffic. The song has a super cool like harmony intro with the guitar and like a made-up kazoo that they use, like I think it was a comb and tissue paper, possibly toilet paper. It's called tissue paper, but toilet paper is the same thing, isn't it? So comb and toilet paper, I'm calling it. It's not super guitar heavy. It's one of the simplest guitar songs I think I have on the total list. It has a lot of room for breathing and space with the guitar, with the vocals and stuff. The guitar almost sounds like a piano in a lot of this. It doesn't even sound like a guitar to me. I almost hear like piano type sounds and tones the way the guitar is played and the way it's recorded and produced in this song. If 6 Was 9 from Axis Bold as Love in 1967. This is the longest song I have on this list. I think this song is twice as long as some of the other songs I have on the list. It's a really unique song. It has almost like a spoken word poetry kind of delivery to the vocals. Lots of different parts to the song. It's a blues song, but if blues met stoner rock, stoner rock didn't really exist in the way I'm saying, almost like a doom sludge metal stoner, you know, psychedelic vibe, but then meets the blues really hard. It almost has parts of it like a free-form avant-garde kind of vibe. Some of the lyrics are, I don't know, just so awesome. "If all the hippies cut off all their hair," I think is so cool. "I'm gonna wave my freak flag high" is really, really cool. It's got a really long, like psychedelic bridge. You don't think it's going to come back around necessarily to be kind of straightforward bluesy again, but it does. It has at the end, I don't know what they are. They sound to me like Native American flutes. I don't know if that's what they were going for, but it sounds that way to me. Peruvian flute, almost kind of sort of style. Unique Hendrix song that I think is just great. Bold as Love from Axis, Bold as Love, 1967. This song to me is just so amazing. Best Hendrix song. It's the last track of Axis, Bold as Love. It is just beauty in music form as far as I'm concerned. As a guitar player, it's just so fluid, so beautiful, so perfect. Great hammer-ons, great pull-offs, all the really just fluidy, beautiful stuff that Hendrix is known to do. Clean tones on the guitar are some of the best clean tones he has. The dirty tones on the guitar are some of the best dirty tones he has. Super, super melodic soloing, not just shredding. It's just melodic, melodic, melodic. Really aggressive bends and stuff, though. You know, it has the Hendrix aggression to it, but still in the most melodic way it can be. It's psychedelic towards the end, has just an amazing, perfect, faded outro. Just, you know, what you want in a Hendrix song, as far as I'm concerned. Takes all the R&B, takes all the psychedelic stuff at the time, takes all the stuff he's unique for doing on guitar, and just blends it all together in the best way.